Hi guys, I'm Ismael Taleb, CEO of TextbookBuddies, the platform that allows you to sell, buy, and rent your textbooks to other Canadian university students. And this is how to choose a web designer. First of all, you need to determine whether you need a website designer or not. If your project is a typical e-commerce website where you sell and deliver items, chances are you don't need a designer. At least not at first. Web designers can be pretty expensive depending on who you end up going with. More on that in a minute. And there are tons of platforms today that allow you to create your own website. WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, to name a few. You don't need to know how to code. You don't even need to be very good with computers. My mom can use them, and trust me, she's not good with technology. But if your platform is more complex and you need someone to actually design it for you, what do? Do you go with an independent designer or an agency? Look, I love to work with people that go on their own and work on their passion, but let's be honest here. If you want a professional website, you're gonna need a team of people working on it. Not only will they work faster, but they all got different strengths like user experience, graphism, and different coding languages. One person simply can't master all of them enough to give you what you want. There's also a secrecy risk here, guys. Most agencies have very strict confidential clauses, and they're simply too busy working for the clients to steal your idea. One individual, on the other hand, can easily do that. We've all seen The Social Network, right? So an agency is a clear choice here. Okay, so you decided to go with an agency. But how do you choose from the thousands that show up on your Google search? You make a spreadsheet like this one, where you will grade each agency on a 0 to 5 scale. Keep in mind that I don't include the price and the timeline here, because those are frankly no-brainers and essential. I'll explain each item separately. Past work simply means that you're going to be looking at their portfolio. What websites did they create in the past? Do they look professional? Are they user-friendly? Are they well-designed? And can you find one similar to your project? And yes, their own website counts here, of course. Let's say Agency 1 here has decent websites, but they seem to be pretty different from what you had in mind. They would get a 3. For Agency 2, you're in love with their websites. They're beautiful, super easy to navigate, and you happen to find one similar to the one you want. That's clearly a 5. Now, Agency 3 on the other hand has pretty good websites, but you don't see one similar to yours. That would be a 4. For the size of the team, you'll be looking for something not too big, otherwise you'll be paying more for salaries than you would be for the quality of the website. But you also don't want a 2-person team either. Remember what we said about the strengths of an agency. 5 people is the magic number here. So, Agency 1, they got 3 people working there. That's clearly on the small side. They get a 2. Agency 2 has 25 people. That's very big. They get a 3. And Agency 5 here has our magic number. That's a 5 for 5 people. Now for seriousness, you're gonna look at how fast do they answer your questions and give you their quote. Did they ask you for the complete specification of your website before giving you their quote? How prepared are they and how many questions do they ask you when you talk to them on the phone? You should feel that they're professional and that they want to work on your project. This is gonna be faster from now on. Agency 1 gets a 4, Agency 2 gets a 1, and Agency 3 gets a 2. Here we're talking about how flexible they are with their quote. Are they willing to work around your budget, reduce their profit, or change up the way they work on your website? You don't want an agency that will stay firmly rooted in their initial quote. But worse than that is the agency that just says yes to everything. You should face a minimal amount of opposition. Agency 1 gets a 0 because they just seemed weird accepting everything. Add this to their seriousness and you get a very desperate agency. Agency 2 gets a 4. And Agency 3 gets a 2. Now you may or may not include this one on your list depending on what you want. But as for most new businesses, cash is what lacks the most. Forming partnerships can be very interesting. What this means is you sign over a percentage of your revenue for the first 1 or 2 years in exchange for them reducing their price. This leaves you with more funds to allocate to marketing, because this one is a big one. But more on marketing in a later video. It actually makes them work harder and make sure that your website is the best and can generate revenue. So Agency 1 is all for a partnership. They even would be open to get equity in your business. They get a 5 here, but remember the desperation. Agency 2 is not interested at all, they just want to get paid and move on. That's a 0. But Agency 3 is open for a partnership, but on their terms, and they have to think about it. They get a 2. As you have probably noticed, A lot of this is arbitrary. You think about it for a few minutes and then you give them a grade based on your analysis. This is good. Actually, it's why we have this item on the list. I call it the tiebreaker. You can analyze as much as you want, but in business, you've got to learn to follow your guts, your instinct. You need to like the people you work with and want to work with them. Because over the next weeks or even months, you're gonna spend a lot of time talking with them, going over every little detail. So here, you're gonna grade them on the overall impression they gave you. Do you want to work with them or not? Agency 1 obviously gets a 0 here, because it just seemed too weird and desperate. Agency 2 gets a 4, they were good, you actually like them. The only reason they get a 4 is because you're just in love with Agency 3. Agency 3 here is the winner and gets a 5. Now you're finally ready to make a decision, and here's when it's gonna be different depending on people. You're gonna need to prioritize. Do you think past work is more important than the size of the team? Do you think that your instinct is more important than partnerships? Or do you think seriousness is more important than past work? Basically, what you do here is add a multiplier to each item. For me, these are my multipliers. Now you just multiply each grade by the multiplier, and you sum it all up. And Agency 3 is the winner. And now you know which agency to go with. That's it for me, guys. I really hope this was useful for you. Tune in next week for tips on finding money for your project. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and leave as many questions as you want. I will gladly answer all of them, either directly on the comments or in a different video. And I'll see you soon. If you guys don't know who I am or what is Textbook Buddies, click here to check out my first video. It will tell you everything you need to know about this channel. You can also click here for my last video on how to turn an idea into a business.